Well, it is on. Okay. Hi guys, it's Coaster 101 here. I'm doing a video today just because there's been a really big sort of just outbreak of backlash towards Logan Paul. Um, yes, I know it's just another opinionated video about Logan Paul on YouTube, but I feel like my opinion's really important right now, just because everybody's opinion counts. And it's just a really big topic that I feel like everybody should have an opinion on. So yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Anyways, let me get right to the point. So yesterday, Logan had, no, not yesterday, but on January 1st, just the first of the new year. Happy New Year, by the way. How are you? So yeah, he released a video that had a very questionable thing in it. Some of you might already know the topic, but in case you don't, he went to the suicide forest, otherwise known as the Sea of Trees, a bunch of different names. The actual name of it is Aokigahara, if I'm saying that correctly. Now, personally, I've done a lot of research on this. I want to one day be able to go to Japan and experience it for myself. Maybe have better luck than some people that have gone there and seen something that they didn't want to, but whatever happens, happens. Anyways, so yeah, that's just, something I've always been interested in. Now, Logan was able to go there because, obviously he's able to go to extravagant places, da da da, because he's one of the biggest names on YouTube right now. He's at a 15 million count of subscribers right now, which honestly to me is really impressive. Like, I used to be a really big fan of PewDiePie, and I'm pretty sure he passed up PewDiePie. So, but yeah, so that's just the topic of today. Anyways, so he'd gone to the suicide forest not expecting to find anything, he thought it was just going to be a fun overnight trip. Like, he wasn't intentionally making fun of it at all, but he ended up running into, him and his crew ended up running into a dead body from a suicide. And now, I'm going to take this off. He had ended up finding a dead body, and it was just, wasn't expected. Nobody expected it. Now, I know that sounds kind of dumb, considering they were going into the suicide forest, but, it wasn't something like they weren't planning on seeing it. A lot of people go in, they don't see a damn thing. But yeah, that's just, how it goes. But yeah, so they go in, they see it, and then some people think they did some questionable things in reaction to it, but really everybody has their own way of coping, I guess you could say, with the realization of finding a dead body. Now, personally, I'm a fan of Logan Paul. I've been watching him for almost a year now, like, yeah, close to a year. Ever since he was in that little apartment in what everybody called the Vine building. So, I'm a big fan of his. I like what he stands for. I like what he does, and for me personally, I'm not much of a social person, but he's really given me, like, kind of like inspiration just to go out and do stuff, like to just experience life as much as you can. And so it's really just given me something of sorry, I've got really dry throat right now. I don't know why. But yeah, he's an inspiration to me. You know, like he's said it himself. He's just a kid from Ohio that took a chance, and now he's literally living the best that he's ever lived from my viewpoint. he's very successful on YouTube. He's one of the biggest names in social media right now. Um, just like everybody who has been big has gone through. Everybody's been, well, not everybody obviously, but all of the big YouTubers have been really big on social media at one point. Like they were the biggest at one point. Now they might have a bit of a less subscriber count or less of a view count, but still, they are still relatively well known. Um, but anyways, yeah. So they had gone in there, seen the body, whatever. That's the story. Um, and now, a day later, it's created a lot of backlash. I personally was not expecting this backlash, just because looking at it from my point of view, the only thing I saw wrong with it was showing the body. That's the only thing I really had a problem with. But still, it did not affect me personally. I was not thinking of, oh, all of these other people are watching, and some of them are kids. Now, personally, I'm 19. I'm a young adult, as some would say, and it's different from my viewpoint, obviously. Um, but you also have to take into perspective of what the kids are thinking, what their parents are thinking, what other adults are thinking. Like I've literally gone through, I want to say 5 or 6 videos about the situation, and it's just bashing, like nothing but bashing over Logan Paul. Now, what I'm saying is, was he right to show the body? No. Was he right to document the body? No, not at all. Because personally, I see that as a bit of a sign of disrespect. Obviously, not intended disrespect, but still, there's that just thought of why would you film that? Um, but at the same time, I think it was right to document the situation, not so much the body. Just because a lot of people hear these things, some people think it's just a big joke over this place. Oh, they nicknamed it Suicide Forest. It's not really suicide filled. Some people actually think that. But what people don't realize is that this is actually a very popular place of suicide. Like, literally, people go there when they're just done with life and just don't want to go on anymore, and they just suicide. They think that's the answer. Um, and yeah, so a lot of people don't really realize how much of a problem it is. Um, but I think that he was trying to make it more apparent of how much of a problem it is. You know, like that people sometimes they just feel alone. Sometimes people just don't feel like they're worth anything. And that's also another reason why he put the suicide hotline into his video. He obviously cares about people committing suicide and he doesn't want it to happen. That's why he put out this video, to make awareness. But people are taking it more as, oh, they just thought it was some big joke. No, it wasn't a joke. Why would somebody joke about that? And I know your response is probably going to be like, oh, for views. He needs views, doesn't he? And I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure, he needs views, but he wouldn't post it without recognizing that it's a problem, you know? Um, so I'm a big fan of Japanese culture. I'm very interested with Japan as a whole. So I, of course, I'm very interested in it. And him going to Japan, that's been one of my favorite things that he's done, really. Um, Other than his YouTube as a whole, because I'm very fond of his YouTube. I watch it every day. Um, which I know in the comments there's going to be a million, it's every day, bro, which is Jake, not Logan, so just stop there. Um, but yeah, it's just a very, just, I obviously am fond of him. You know, I enjoy his work ethic. I like what he stands for. You know, being a maverick, he literally ties that into his YouTube channel so much that it's very apparent, you know. Um, but yeah, so back to the point. Um, I'm very neutral on the situation. You know, he had some rights, he had some wrongs, and he recognizes that. I have seen the video that he posted on January 2nd, which was yesterday. I think it's like 2 in the morning or something like that right now. Um, but yeah, this just popped up on my feed, and I felt like putting my opinion out there because everybody's opinion is important. Um, and it needs to be viewed at all different prospects of the situation. Um, but yeah, so it's a very misconstrued sort of situation. Um, a lot of people are taking it harder than he meant it to be taken. A lot of people are putting it out of proportion. Like some people are saying, oh, he was laughing at the situation. He was not laughing at the situation, he was laughing because of the situation. I share the coping mechanism of being in a very awkward, sometimes frightening state, and sometimes you just can't help yourself and you're just like, oh God. Um, it's just a coping mechanism. I forget the actual term for it, but it is like an actual thing. Many people are aware of that, I'm sure, but those are not the people that are putting out the Snapchat stories, the um, just the different videos on YouTube about him now. A lot of fans are now turning into ex fans and unsubscribing, which I understand why, you know, but I feel like people are just taking this way out of proportion. You know, if you think that you're not very fond of seeing a dead body, don't watch the video. Like, it's as plain and simple as that. But of course, there's curiosity in the world, and people are like, oh no, he didn't actually find a dead body. This is clickbait. But of course, I'm going to watch it, you know, just to make sure there's no dead body. You know, I feel like this is a safe thing to do, you know? Yeah, let's watch it. Um, which is a big mistake because he's not, I don't want to say he's not guilty of using clickbait because, you know, everybody is at least once. If you're trying to get big on YouTube, personally, I've just posted videos over the years that I thought was, oh, this is cool. I'll just, you know, I'll post it on YouTube. Um, I haven't used clickbait, but, you know, anybody that's really trying to get big on YouTube, social media, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, just, you know, just social media as a whole. Obviously, they're going to use clickbait. Um, and so it's really just, it's a thing that's become part of social media now, and there's not really much of stopping it. But anyways, yeah, so the backlash, I feel like is partially necessary, but for some of the people saying, is his computer, what the hell? Is his career over? Logan Paul just ended his career. Da da da. Like, no. YouTube makes way too much money. Somehow they are going to find a good opinion on this and they're not going to take off his channel. Like, by any means. They're not going to. They make way too much money off of him. They're literally rolling in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars off of him just off of one vlog. You know, they take a pretty decent percentage off of each YouTuber that has monetization going on. Um, so his career as a social media, what's it called? Influencer, that's not over at all by the slightest. He might lose 1 million fans if I had to guesstimate at most, but that's not even really what I would actually guess. I would guess probably 250,000 fans, probably, because kids, they're still gonna want to watch him. parents, some of them don't really know what's going on with them, but then some are realizing it and they're like, you're not allowed to watch this guy anymore, just out of safety of their kids' minds. Um, but is his career over? Not even by the slightest. He's going to keep on going. He said it himself. 2017 was the greatest year of his life, and it's only going to get better. This is just the beginning of Logan Paul and Jake Paul. Like, it's not going to end. Um, so yeah. And I know in his apology video, he said, guys, don't defend me. Don't, try to make things right because I was in the wrong and all that stuff. But I'm not defending him. Like I said, he did do some things wrong. He is a little bit in the wrong for what he did. Um, but at the same time, you really got to look in retrospect, like, really think, is it really the worst thing that somebody can do? So it's a very just, it's a very opinionated conversation that many people are going to be having over the next week, 2 weeks. It's going to blow over like everything else. Just like the beef with his brother that blew over as soon as they made up. Um, and yeah, it's just, if you see something that is not. Let me say this first, actually. If he hadn't recorded the body, people would say, oh, this is just clickbait. You didn't find the body. What body? I don't see no body. There's no body in the film, so I'm not going to believe that you found a body. There would be so many of those comments on his videos, which I think is part of the reason why he showed it, because he did not want to be called a bullshitter. He did not want to get the rep of, not showing proof so that it's just completely clickbait. It is very clearly a dead body. The hands, you could see, were stiff, and you can see a little bit of the rope in the video. And the reason he blurred out the face and the neck region and all that is because when you hang yourself, blood stops flowing right at that point. It blocks up your airways, and it literally turns the like chin area, upper neck area, um, blue, purple, black. Like literally, it just looks like your neck is bruised, and it's not a pretty sight. It's not. You really, if you have the choice, don't see it. you know. Um, but yeah, so I think he was right to blur out at least the face and the neck, just because that is something very hard to see, and it's even worse to try and unsee, because once you see that, it's not a good sight. Let's just leave it at that. Um, and he said it in his video. That is something that the crew that he took with him is gonna have to deal with now forever. Like, they've seen a dead body, they found a dead body. They literally had to call the police and tell them, hey, there's been a suicide at the forest. You might want to come take care of this before somebody else sees it. Which honestly was the right precaution. They notified the authorities, and it was taken care of from there. Um, Sorry, I'm a little sick. Um, but anyways, yeah. So that's just my viewpoint. Like I said, I'm neutral. He did some wrongs. He did some very good things, because he really, the big thing that he did here was bring awareness to suicide, because it's a really big thing in our society nowadays. Like, it's unbelievably big nowadays. But yeah, so just don't just assume that he did it out of spite or insensitivity. It was nothing like that. It was just purely out of curiosity, and he said himself he doesn't know what to do in that situation. You know, it's just a situation where like, oh, I've seen this now. I have to deal with this now. What do I do? You know, and he thought he was doing it right by blurring the face and still posting it because really it still brought awareness, you know? And like I said, there would be all those trolls in the comments like, oh, you didn't find shit, you know? So, anyways, I'm gonna cut the video just because I can tell I'm starting to ramble. So, you know, you guys have been on YouTube for a while, I'm sure. Like, subscribe, comment. I like to know other people's opinions, so feel free to comment on this opinion, and I'll talk to you another time. Peace out.